The time has come to strap our championship belts onto someone new at the end of another Esports Racing League season. Hi folks, Arjuna Kankipati, delighted to have you all as we get set for a very different type of finale. Once more we'll shift up platforms and land on the last garage with our custom Visceral Esports machine, but a track that not many will really know what to make of. Let's see if Lewis McClay knows what to make of what we're in store for today. Lewis, a slightly more Race of Champions style event where one driver from all four of our Final Four teams will be on track at the same time, winding their way around 4 lanes, and first to the finish wins.
Yeah, typically, of course, with race champion style races, it's just 2 cars that are on the circuit at the same time. They wind their way around, and effectively you do 2 laps of a circuit before coming back to you're basically completing 2 halves of the whole. Here, well, it's 4 quarters, isn't it? Because obviously it's 4 lanes. Should be very interesting to see how that one's going to unfold. Something very different for us, something very new for us. And of course, the race for who can get into Finalist Mode. We'll be talking about that a little bit. And of course, the race to our champion.
And while we talk about all these new things, let's cast our mind back first to 2025. And well, I say 25, it was really start of this year when we met in person at Maastricht, landed on the last garage for the very first time for many of these drivers. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of what happened in February. Winners, Rafa ERL Esports by EMM. And the championship belts held proudly aloft. Let's see if we'll see the similar sort of celebrations will be very different with the drivers all being at home. I've got my Sim Formula Europe thing on. I see that Lewis has forgotten. But
it's fine, I could steal cams, it's fine.
That's all right. Sim Formula Europe was a lot of fun, Lewis. The last garage in particular, though, was unknown for many, and a lot of drivers, I think, really struggled to get to grips, not necessarily with the sim, but the car, the amount of power and the lack of traction control that we had.
Yeah, the Visceral Esports is, you know, obviously the fictional car that we have here in VCO, and it being made to a GT3 spec when we were racing at Parsifal Park at the start of the year. And whilst fascinating and exciting and different, you'd kind of assume it would drive fairly similar to other GT3s, but it really didn't. Like you said, it was way more brake horsepower, and it was drivers that really struggling with it. And then you had the tight twists and turns of Parsifal Park that were so tremendously difficult. From the screenshots that we've seen of this track on social media and stuff, Arjuna, though, where we're racing here seems very up and down. I think the drivers might struggle a little bit.
We've talked about the car. Let's take a visual look at the Visceral Esports conceptualized by VCO for the Esports Racing League. A quick glimpse at the liveries, and the one thing that you'll note of the 4 teams competing in this weekend's action are defending champions, not in this final stage across the regular season, just coming up short. And so it's Team Vitality, Williams F1 Team Gaming, Visceral, and TC Esports that will do battle. I really don't know who is the favorite coming into this, because take the form book from the regular season, Lewis, and throw it out the window, because the drivers have had very limited practice, which is something we always love in ERL competition.
Yeah, and look, there's a few that I think it might be between Visceral, might also be Williams, could be Vitality, it could also be TC Esports, who knows. Obviously, yes, I will sit on the fence on that one. This is how the format's going to work for the day, though. Obviously, we have the 4 teams. They effectively will need to be bringing a minimum of 3 drivers. There'll be a reason for that, which you can kind of read at the bottom there. 4 laps per race, because obviously they go around the entire circuit, depending on which lane they're in. Effectively 4 times, and then it'll be the fastest of each of those races which scores the 50 points. Now you can see at the bottom bit that we'll be talking about here a little bit throughout this evening. 200 points is the minimum points requirement to get into finalist mode. The next race you win after that point, your team is then victorious. But it's the second part of that, Arjuna, which I think is the more interesting. Not only do you have to get to that 200 points, you have to use the 3 different drivers to do that. You can't just say, right, we're Visceral, we're going to stick Isaac Price behind the wheel of the car, he's going to win us 4 races and we're going to get into finalist mode. No. You need to switch that across the team.
Let's talk about the track, because the challenge, I think, of the 4 lanes is going to be unique. The Quadrivium Desert Raceway landed us in the deserts of California, fictional deserts in some ways it feels, with an oasis sort of vibe, but just over 17 kilometers. Let's talk about what these drivers are going to actually experience with an onboard lap in the Vickers Ache. 900 odd horsepower, and off the line, rear end squirms from underneath you. The first thing you'll note, street circuit vibe in terms of the walls on either side. Limited references as well. So the practices that the drivers have had, where do you find your braking spots? Very tricky through that first corner to roll enough speed, get the power through, and now on the outside of the track, Lewis, into turn 2.
Yeah, exactly. The 4 different lanes. So the outside lane going into that opening turn will have the longest straight round, then the shortest for various points. But you've got to remember that as much as we're seeing them all drive round these points, effectively the circuit will move them over a lane at the end of the lap, and then they'll consistently move over, and effectively you're doing the entire race where you're going across all 4 lanes regardless. Top of the hill here as we head into the tight left-hander at the top. Can imagine the commitment and speed required to go for that outside lane in lane 4 will be pretty brave later on in the day.
You're only going to see each of these lanes once though, so every trip around is slightly different. You can't really memorize every line, a lane rather, as the same. Tight now on the inside, probably compared to the speed you'll carry if you're on the outside of the track. And just we talked a little bit about the elevation, Lewis. There's a couple of crests here and there, but that's lap 1 done, and now slotted into lane 2 as the race effectively would continue. And so what's 17 divided by 4? Never trust the commentator's math, but that's effectively what we saw.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it then. It's 4.3. Come on, mate.
Oh, there you go.
So that's fine. For the only other one is when you're in, I think it's lane 4, you skip under the track, and then that's how you, at the final corner, you drop down, go under, kind of like the Abu Dhabi pit lane, and then rise back up, and that becomes lane 1 then, and you carry on. You're absolutely right. 17 kilometers around. It's a lot to effectively remember, and yeah, I'm fascinated to see.
Here we go. Race 1 of the Esports Racing League 2026 spring season is underway. We ride on board with Jack Keithley, who's seemingly slotted into the outside lane, which switches back to the inside. Now, the timing tower should equalize the slight differences in distances between each of the lanes that they're in, seeming as though Marcel Chinchik already half a second clear, as much as they are relatively close on the track. Very tight for Keithley as they switch through the right-hander.
Yeah, got the left-hand side of your screen. Isaac Price, the Visceral Esports driver. Jack Keithley, too. They might look the same on the webcam at the top. They are 2 different drivers. Top of the hill then, and you can see with Isaac Price taking the slightly more outside lane, obviously lane 2 that he's in, but Jack Keithley having to go for that 4th lane all the way around the outside. That, I think that 4th lane here, Arjuna, that is almost what I feel is going to be the big decider, is your lap when you're in that 4th lane, because there's so many corners around here where on the outside lane you're carrying so much more speed, and then even this run here where you drop down and under the circuit before rising back up.
And visual on board with Keithley as he cuts underneath the track and now spat back into effectively lane 1. It's not quite a Joker lap, Lewis, but I agree with what you're saying. The challenge of that lap is the maybe deciding factor, and if you have to challenge it on lap 1, maybe you're at a disadvantage if you're relatively cold compared to challenging on lap 4. As timing tells us, Chinchik 1.2 seconds clear. We were surprised that Vitality Simracing were eliminated so early in the previous season of the Esports Racing League. They're putting that one wrong.
They certainly are. I mean, it was a very disappointing run last season, the Esports Racing League for them, and it was the big talking point how this season they were actually flying this season, relatively speaking. Jack Keithley's just gained the spot on Dominic Blyer, who's obviously now in lane 4 himself. Jack Keithley is furthest inside in lane 1. Obviously, Dom Blyer will take over his role in lane 1 at the end of this lap. Marcel Chinchik's 1.6 second lead, I wouldn't necessarily, it's one of those ones, take it with a pinch of salt. He'll be doing lane 4 on that final lap. We're about halfway through this race, and it is Marcel Chinchik with the preferred spot. I think Jack Keithley's doing a really good job here in lane 1. It's close right up to Isaac Price as well, so they're pretty close on the times.
Now, when we raced at Maastricht, Lewis, we should remember they were all effectively on the VCO rigs. Set up effectively that was curated alongside the team at the last garage, so hardware issues were all being resolved as Dom Blyer, did he hit the wall there? Yes, he did. Right,
he'll be 4th. Surely he'll be 4th now. Well, I mean, I guess everyone else can make a mistake, but realistically speaking, these drivers are all pretty good. They have been practicing pretty hard in the limited practice they've had. They've been practicing very hard, but yeah, just a big mistake there from DB.
And to go back to the limited practice, Isaac Price was having some issues getting his rig completely configured correctly. So that ate into some of the practice, but the team behind the scenes extending the online servers slightly longer. Effectively, we shut the virtual racetrack down overnight to make sure no one was putting in the long hours and burning those midnight oil as well. Back down in toward the final couple of corners of the lap they will sweep, and will already be on to the 4th and final lap of this first race of the day. And Vitality Simracing looking in a very good position as Isaac Price switches back to lane 1.
But now Marcel Chinchik will find himself in lane 4, and this is the joy of this style of competition, is that over this lap you would suspect that everyone's going to close up that little bit more. Isaac Price is on the inside line, so he'll be closing up on Jack Keithley, who's on the outside. I think Isaac Price will definitely be in second position pretty soon, because he's got the inside of this really tight opening corner, and Marcel Chinchik, that 2.7 second, 3 second gap to Isaac Price, I'd suspect you can close that one back up.
I'm very good at not sitting on a fence. I think Chinchik's looking very, very comfortable right now. It'll be his first experience of the last garage as far as I'm aware, but seemingly at home with the slidey style that you seem to run in this car. As much as you slow it down pretty aggressively on the brakes, carry so much speed through the corner that just look at him, he's riding that ragged edge of adhesion.
On the limit, absolutely on the limit there from Marcel Chinchik, but look at that in the mirrors. Jack Keithley's closing up. I will agree, Isaac Price isn't closing up as much as maybe he needs to, but remember that awkward final corner that Chinchik's got to do, where he drops under the circuit, then through the tunnel and back on the start-finish straight. This could be a bit of a drag race here.
Find out, and this is our first opportunity to see where things could go wrong. Isaac Price into the wall. And as we run to the line, Marcel Chinchik will grab the first win in the Esports Racing League Final 4. And he lost about 7/10 on that final lap to Jack Keithley as he hunted him down. No wrestling moves to be made at the end with a margin that big, but Lewis, I think these drivers are going to get increasingly aggressive as we get deeper into the competition.
Yeah, obviously the big shame there was Dom Blyer and his mistake on the 3rd lap, but a superb victory for Marcel Chinchik. Just played his cards right there, and the drag race wasn't super duper tight, and like you say, just nailed that final lap. I think Isaac Price, realistically, I think Marcel Chinchik, you were right, wasn't going to be caught there, but I do think Isaac Price will feel that he should have been 2nd place. But that mistake in the final corner cost him a chance on Keithley.
And now those drivers probably, if there was any slight differences to what they were feeling from their test sessions, will relay that information over to driver number 2, because as we described in the format, Lewis, you can't do consecutive races. So the next time we'll see any of these drivers is in race number 3. And one thing that's also interesting is there's some teams that have allotted a maximum of 5 drivers that will be competing here this weekend, this Sunday. There's some that have elected a couple less as we take a look at the points standing after race 1. And the best thing about this format, in my opinion, don't have to wait for race control. We can say these are pretty much official.
That is true. That is true. There's no messing around here and no sitting around for 45 minutes whilst we chat about the golf, which, by the way, Siwoo Kim's... No, it's fine. No
spoilers.
We'll come back to that later.
We'll let Lewis go and watch his golf. Meanwhile, let's catch up with Marcel Cinczyk, winner of the first race this evening. Marcel, your first experience of the Vickers 8 here on the last garage. Let's talk about the car and the track combination. How are you finding things here in this new world?
Yeah, thank you guys. It's pretty new everything for sure. We had limited time to test, so it's really challenging. I was trying to go a little bit safe on the first one, but overall I felt like pretty confident with the car, so it was great. It's a new experience and so far enjoying it, so let's see. But it's pretty fun, the whole event, so yeah, it's great.
It's definitely a different format, that's for sure. The question that Lewis and I were kind of raising during the first races is one of the lanes more challenging than the others? Obviously, the one that cuts underneath the track, maybe a little bit more risk to be taken there. Is that something you agree with? Is that one of the laps that's maybe more key than the others?
Probably yes, actually. It's maybe like that you can get a bit lost in your head because you maybe can forget which line you are in, so maybe you are a bit cautious into one corner than the another. But I don't know, if I would have to pick, maybe I would choose the fourth. I was struggling the most with it, but actually today was going pretty fine, so yeah.
How did you and the team decide how to just divvy up the races? You won't be competing until race 4 again, but we'll see Yuri Toman and your teammate Thibaut Casabon coming up in the next couple of races.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a lot of strategic decision. To be honest, for me, it's fine to start like I used to do it in Rensport also, so it was okay. And then we just decided who is gonna be the second, the third, and yeah, it was pretty just like a normal decision.
Well, Marcel, congratulations on the victory. See you in a couple of races' time.
Thank you so much.
And depending on how things goes, Vitality might be on the verge of entering into finalist modes, but have to wait and see how the teammates perform. Getting ready for race number 2, I've just seen the drivers, Koke Lopez, Yuri Toman, Sammy Joe Abinakal, and Noah Lanuza for the respective teams. I'm really excited though, Lewis, now that we have a bit of history. Like we said, didn't know what to expect, and now we've got at least one race under our books.
Exactly. The more that we go into this competition, the more we are going to learn as well. The more the drivers will learn about this competition, the more the teams will. The more that we do as commentators, the more that you do as viewers as well and fans of the VCO Esports Racing League. And also a new name to talk of, Noah Lanuza, we've not seen before in the VCO Esports Racing League. So curious to see on that one. And also, I was going to say, looking at this, it's quite easy to think, right, well, Vitality clearly starting out really well there with Marcel Cinczyk, so maybe Yuri Toman. Sammy Joe Abinakal, considering the experience in, rally competitions and stuff, and effectively, stage performance rather than circuit performance, is it bad to maybe lean towards that experience for Sammy Joe here?
I think that's a very good shout, actually, and I hadn't thought about it that way. Unfortunately, I have to correct you on one thing. Noah Lanuza, we did see him on Gran Turismo 7, which is his bread and butter. So, as much as I think that maybe Sammy Joe has that advantage, look at what Yuri Toman is probably going to bring to the table, because him and Marcel are pretty similar in a lot of ways, I would argue. Pace, driving styles, at least from what I've seen, don't seem to be too dissimilar. Maybe one of the reasons they seem to work so well on a team together as well. So I think Vitality have kind of laid the gauntlet down, and it's time for the rest of the teams to respond, because if it's 2 wins on the trot, it'll be very difficult to look past Vitality with 3 drivers that will be rotating through.
100%, especially as it is the race to 200 points. That's always the first goal with this kind of competition. Obviously, when a finalist mode is brought into a competition, you obviously split the competition into a couple of different stages. For one, obviously getting off to a good start. It doesn't necessarily have to be a victorious start, but just a solid start. And obviously for Vitality, there wasn't a mistake there in that race. That is a solid start. Then it's about getting yourself to the 200-point threshold, and then it's about winning. And the thing is, I think with a format like this, where it's just you and the track, that finalist mode is a little bit easier than it would be if it was you versus everyone else on the same track, because someone will get a little bit more sendy into the opening corner and will cause those problems. Whereas in this, they can only go as hard as they can go. You can obviously crumble under the pressure, but it is you versus the track in this, not necessarily you versus your other competitors.
Definitely, and I think it goes to the element of not needing race control as well. It just removes all of that from the equation. It comes strictly down to the driving, and maybe the one element that you don't have too much control over here is which lane you do start in, and maybe there is a disadvantage to being in lane 4 to begin with. The great thing that I think from our perspective, Lewis, is the times on the left seem to be pretty accurate despite the laps all being different lengths. So as much as there was 7/10 loss by Chinchik on that last lap, that's not too much time, right? So if someone's able to hold that advantage going into the final lap of the race, it holds them in good stead no matter what lane they're in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll try and keep an eye and use our memory, which I don't know about you, Arjuna. Mine's certainly getting worse with age. You know,
I'm older than you as well.
Yeah, right. It's fine. We'll have to rely on other sources of wisdom here in the Esports Racing League. But lane 1 there, victorious in race 1. Now, obviously, that comes more down to Marcel Chinchik's driving, of course. But I think it is an important thing to note and to keep an eye on here about how the lanes will unfold. Because I do think there would be a slight advantage where you think Marcel Chinchik's doing the same lap and he's just going slightly further out each lap, right? Whereas if you're in like lane 3, you go slightly further out the next lap, and then suddenly you're way tighter on the third lap. And it's kind of those things might throw you off a little bit more. Maybe that's us just clutching at straws. Who knows?
Well, we don't know how the practice went for them either, right? Like where and how they practiced. Did they all go into one specific lane? How did the sim let them practice? These are all things that are slightly different with a platform that's unreleased, right? This is a game that we have a custom build effectively of that allowed us to limit the practice time and have some special modes. And kudos to Marcel. He pushed out an update to the game to make it run slightly better across the board for the various computers that our competitors had. So, you know, responding to the feedback of the teams as we've gone, and I'll be curious at the end of the night. Let's not talk to them right now while they're still mid-competition. Once things are finished, how did the sim feel on their home sims, their own rigs and everything? Because now we've taken all of those variables out of the equation. And as much as it's an early access look into the platform, I'm sure there's lots of insight to be gained as to what the pro esports players think about it.
Well, yeah, this is, in a sense, is the least controlled environment this platform's ever been on. It's been run, of course, Sim Formula Europe a couple of times. They obviously ran it in 2 different competitions in Maastricht, which was great to see. Marcel Hoffmann's he's a busy man when it comes to the last garage. And with that, like you said, there's a lot of hurdles to cross. But when you're in, as much as it's at LAN, you know, but like you say, all of the computers are effectively the same. All the steering wheel and the pedals and stuff, they're all ones that are compatible with the platform. When you launch something, even if it is to a select group of people, which this is a very select group of people, just 4 teams getting here into the Final 4, and then a maximum of $3 a piece, you're talking a maximum of between 15 and 20 drivers are able to really look at the platform on their own computers. But that still is quite the hurdle for Marcel and the team to kind of get over and to figure out how they all balance.
We've got a bit of a break right now, Lewis, while we figure out some tech issues. So why don't we talk a little bit about the teams that unfortunately are not here today. We started the season with 17 teams, and we've got down to the final 4, who were covered by 7 points at the end of our 4-round regular season. Had to check myself there because how quickly the year has flown by. BS competition, the first team that just missed out. I know they'll be slightly disappointed to not be here. Defending champions, of course, EMM Esports, 6th place in the regular season. They'll be a bit frustrated. Referox Esports, Team Nitro, Yes Motorsports, and 0 Point Racing. Ultimately, I look at those 6 names and I think those are some teams that had some really strong performances this season, and compared to maybe previous iterations of the Esports Racing League dominated by the Red Lines and others on occasion, we have a lot more variety in the competition, especially now that we've included a couple more of the unique sims.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously the season starting on LFS. I mean, Visceral really proved themselves straight away, didn't they? It was a great performance from them on a very unique street circuit for them to battle on. Obviously, having Vitality then winning on Gran Turismo 7, which they were kind of the favourites for. Going on to that, obviously they did win it the previous season under the guise of R8G, so it was expected they were going to go well there again. And then Williams, of course, winning on iRacing. And then we went on to race from 2 new platforms for this season, obviously LFS being one of them, which was great to see. Racestream, you know me, I've worked around the Racestream guys for quite a long time, quite a few years that I've been in and around that group and that contingent, and it was great to see. For 0 Point, we'd highlighted them as being probably the favourites for that platform all the way. I say we, it was definitely me throughout the season, and they ended up winning. And it was a very, very entertaining round on Racestream. Very exciting, and it's one of those ones that we kind of sit here and think, right, well, what's next? What other platforms, what other racing styles, what other racing formats are we going to bring to the VCO Esports Racing League?
You know what I think about this.
Mario
Kart. There we go.
Knew you were going to say Mario Kart.
Well, more seriously, let's go play some Forza Horizon. That might not be too bad. Mainly because they have party modes, and we could have a season of the Esports Racing. Did you ever play Dirt 3?
I did play Dirt 3. Yeah.
They had some really fun online modes. I'm just saying we could have party season of the Esports Racing League coming up at some point.
What's the battle royale that they had in Forza? Is it in Forza 6? I've not actually. I've not actually played Forza 6 like multiplayer stuff really at all. I've just been vibing with it. But yeah, it's
better in Forza 6 because you can just drive through all the trees instead of random ones that stop your progression. Anyway. Good news, we stopped rambling about the party season of the Esports Racing League coming up because the tech issues have been resolved. All drivers are in, and we are moments away from going racing for the 2nd time tonight, Lewis, with Strike 1 going the way of Vitality.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see how race 2 will unfold. It'll be Yuri Toman taking on the Vitality team. Apparently, we're literally about to jump straight into the race. Koke Lopez for TC Esports will certainly be one to watch. Here we are with the look down into that opening corner. We've got Koke Lopez here in lane 1 on the left-hand side of your screen. Noah Lanuza on the right-hand side for Williams. We are go then for race number 2. And who's going to come out on top? It's Yuri Toman Vitality, have 50 points to their name. They can be moving one step closer to Finalist Mode if they're able to take a victory here. We're starting from lane 2 and slowly working its way out of the circuit. The inside line will leave Koke Lopez with effectively the race lead here.
Rolling through. Trying to figure out the top of the screen. I think that's Koke Lopez and Sammy Joe's spot, potentially. And Noah Lanuza's camera's not very good. He's also hit the inside wall. Oh, Lopez out of sorts as they work through the switchbacks there. These drivers struggling a little bit more, and Lanuza now a full second back in lane 4.
The one thing with this Vicarous 8 that we remember when we were racing in Maastricht is you've got to be clean, you've got to be smooth, you've got to be patient with this car. So much brake horsepower, 900 it was then that is being put down into the rear wheels, and the car slides around, it dances around the circuit, and we're seeing that once again around here with the ups and downs and the undulations of this circuit. Final corner then. And I've got to say, for Yuri Toman running the outside lane, he's done a really good job to keep close to Koke Lopez here. 4 tenths between them as they cross the line. I would say your net race leader is going to be Yuri Toman here if he keeps this kind of pace up.
I think I agree with you. Just wondering how much these drivers have absorbed waiting. They haven't really been in a position to be out there and practicing too much. It's a very different experience compared to a traditional esports competition, much more like real world racing. I love it from that perspective. Look how close they are, and gotta say, Sammy Joe's keeping very honest as well, but he's now into lane 4, so he's gonna lose a little bit of ground on this lap. It'll come back to him in the next 2 laps, the final half of the race.
This is going to be a slightly tighter one than what we've seen from the previous. I feel Noah Lanuz is unfortunately well out of it, and it will be Lopez, Toman, and Sammy Joe Abinagel. The battlers there. Koke Lopez, of course, for TC Esports. Yuri Toman for Visceral. For Vitality, the other one. Sammy Joe Abinagel for Visceral. And you'll see here as we ride on board with Yuri Toman, you'll see the road peel away on the right-hand side as lane 4 out of here, the penultimate corner, will just pull away to the right, will then drop down and go under the circuit, and Sammy Joe Abinagel will be fully committed into it. He is kept close to Yuri Toman. I said that Yuri Toman might all be a net race leader compared to Koke Lopez, but Sammy Joe Abinagel is keeping close enough. This could be a big drag race towards the line.
I'm loving this. We're getting a sense of what it could be when we get to Finalist Mode if these drivers keep each other close. Also getting the sense of just how strong Marcel Cinchik was straight out of the starting blocks relative to the rest of the competition. Very nice line there from Sammy Joe on the inside. Gotta say, adapting to the car quite nicely. Noah Lanuz is struggling a lot more in comparison to these 3 right now. Wondering if he's got some technical issues potentially.
Potentially, and with 3 lanes different between Sammy Joe and Yuri Toman. The 2 of those are going to switch over a little bit in second position. Koke Lopez with the lead. We're about to complete the penultimate lap of this race. We're climbing to the top of the hill. Kind of got a bit of a Willow Springs vibe, doesn't it? This track, and clearly... Oh! Sammy Joe's been into the barrier! Sammy Joe at the top of the hill has gone into the barrier. It'll be a 2-horse race there between Koke Lopez and Yuri Toman.
Well, these drivers finding out just how hard this track will bite you when you push a little bit too much. Does again have street circuit vibes, Lewis. I think that was one of the first things that I thought of as Yuri Toman sweeps back underneath, and now we'll get the sense of the comparison to Koke Lopez, who will be in lane 4 on this final lap of race number 2.
And who's going to come out on top? Vitality already have a victory to their name. They already have the W from the first race, courtesy of Marcel Cinchik's brilliant performance. Yuri Toman can see what he needs to close down. Koke Lopez has been at the front, and it is lane 1 that was victorious in the previous race, of course. And lane 1 could be the one to be in here. Toman, I mean, 3 seconds. You said it was 7/10 in the previous race. I mean, that is going to be a tall one. It could be a great drive from Koke Lopez. As Yuri Toman, I think, might have had a bit of an issue there. Might have got a bit deep.
Must have already had an issue as well, because I would have expected him to be a bit closer to Lopez in front of Sammy Joe after Sammy Joe's issue, right? So clearly something's not quite happened, or something's happened that we've not quite caught, as big sideways slew for Toman as he puts the power down. But Koke Lopez has had a very clean race so far, and it's not the longest run to the line, so maybe that's one benefit of being on lane 4 on this final lap.
Indeed. Let's see what it is going to be, that drag race to the line, the final corner. Sammy Joe, despite going wide here, should be able to hang on to second spot. Yuri Toman's committing as hard as he can as they head back out onto the start-finish straight. Koke Lopez, where's he going to come up on the left-hand side? Is it going to be Lopez on top? Yes, it will. TC Esports will take the 50 points for the victory. Yuri Toman for Vitality just 3rd. That will definitely not help their points tally.
Well, we're going to be here a bit longer than maybe initially we thought after Marcel Cinchik's speed. Noah Lanuz, Williams F1 Team Gaming, still looking for a bit of speed as our first 2 races now officially in the books here from this unique track and car combination that the drivers are being challenged with today.
Look, it's fascinating to see at the moment that both times lane 1 has been the victorious one. Obviously, we'll try and catch up with Koke Lopez in but a second, and be very curious to hear what his take was on that. I think there was mistakes in there from Sammy Joe and from Yuri as they were pushing to try and catch the TC Esports driver up ahead. But look, this format, there's so little wiggle room. You can't afford to make mistakes.
No, and I do wonder if that's something to be considered, if driving at 95% and avoiding those mistakes might actually be slightly better. Also because this must be a car in which, with all that power, tires must be quite sensitive if you slightly push a bit too hard. So things to maybe consider as these drivers move forward. Looking now at the entry list for race number 3, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We've got a race winner to catch up with, Lewis.
Certainly do. Koke Lopez joins us here in the commentary booth. Koke, great drive. Second race here completed and a victory for TC Esports. Obviously another one from lane 1 then, the same as what we had in the previous race from Marcel Cinchik. Do you think that's it's a bit of an advantage starting from lane 1, or was it just a really good drive from you?
Yeah, with the little amount of practice we have, I think it's definitely a little advantage to be in line 1. The good thing is that every team is going line 1 at some point, and it's not like the same thing will go every time in line 1. So in the end, it's fair anyway. Then it's up to us to try to practice in the best way possible with the little amount of time that we had. And yeah, in my case, very happy because I had a very bad start, but I could recover anyway.
Obviously a very unique style of event here. Obviously you're used to more being on the track, racing side by side, getting your elbows out. How does that differ to basically having a little qualifying session on a 17-kilometer circuit to just drive around?
Well, for me, I just mentalized myself that it was some kind of like North Life track where it's 20 kilometers and we have many different corners, instead of thinking that it's the same track but for laps, because every corner is different in every single lane. So yeah, anyway, it made a lot of difference in that way, but at the same time, it's like a time trial. You go by yourself, even if you have cars in the sides, you have to be very accurate, and I really enjoy driving this layout since the very beginning when we got the chance to drive it.
And this track, let's talk about that very quickly before I'll let you go and have a breather. Difficult track to deal with. The car as well, this car-track combo, this car's brutal. We saw that when we were racing back at Parsifal Park at the end of last season, start of this year. I mean, what's it like around here? I know it's your first time taking this car around a circuit, but what's it like?
It feels nice because it's the kind of pressure that the drivers always want to have, because having this pressure means that you are in a good spot to fight for things. I think only Dominic Blyer had the chance to drive last year from all the drivers that are in this Final 4. So in the end, it's not a disadvantage to not have driven it last year. So yeah, mentally ready and trying to go for it to try to win as much as possible.
Koke Lopez then in the comedy booth. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your victory and best of luck to your teammate David Sparrow in the next race.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, let's hope he goes good.
There we go, Arjuna. We can see the points here after 2 races complete. Fantastic to see TC Esports now atop the points.
I'm amazed that you didn't tell him that he managed to fix his camera and rotate it the right way around, at least finally. But
he's definitely still hearing you. He's in the comedy booth.
Exactly.
I was trying to change it, but I was also trying to join Zoom before the race, and I was a bit. So yeah, sorry for that. I hope if I come here next time, I'll fix it.
Oh, good. That's why we had to make sure we threw him under the bus and he could hear us as well. But points looking good. Williams F1 Team Gaming on the back foot, and Alessandro Bico in lane 1 this third and upcoming race, Lewis. The pressure really on him to try and get some points on the board.
Yeah, they need a victory. They need something onto the board. And really, if they are going to win here today, it needs to be a victory. Right, 20 points to their name is certainly not good enough now. And they also need that and the hope that TC Esports and Vitality are in third and fourth, and the Visceral are the one pulling up behind them. Look, if that is the case, that's a dream scenario for them, but realistically it's not looking so good for Williams F1 Team Gaming, and it seems as though the trio ahead are pulling away. But we have only completed 2 races, Arjuna, so a third one could be very, very different with 3 different drivers as well. Curious to see what David Sabero and Thibaut Casabon are able to put together, along with Christoph Karakas as well.
There's a look at all 4 drivers ready to go, and now just moments away from the third of a maximum of 10 races today, if needed. If we get to 10 races, I think one of these teams will be thinking something has gone wrong. Will it be Alessandro Bico in the bottom right to hold on, Thibaut Casabon in the top left, Christoph Karakas just below him, and never count out David Sobrero, who might be slightly disappointed that this is not an in-person LAN, as someone that enjoys those sort of opportunities and the pressure that comes with it. Race control have said the race is starting, the lights will come up, and third time in the Esports Racing League Final Four. We are go. That was a long hold as well. And Alessandro Bico struggles to put the 900 odd horsepower down, and Christoph Karekas on the outside will sweep through potentially the most difficult of lanes to get yourself started. Troubles for Thibaut Casabon, who goes nowhere.
Thibaut Casabon has not moved. Is this a technical issue for Casabon? I think it might well be, and they might well get a restart done for that. It is indeed going to be a restart here for the drivers. Thibaut Casabon unable to get going. This is one of the things. This is a new platform that, as we've said before, we've raced in person. In person, you have a little bit more control. Now we're racing over the internet, and as much as all the other platforms kind of are built with this in mind. Last Garage, we're in indie development, and it's a lot of work to get these things to work and effectively out on everyone's platforms and stuff. It is a technical challenge for sure, but these ones can be rectified pretty quickly.
Absolutely. So we'll restart the server. You can see that Thibaut is a little bit underwhelmed with this, but you could see the frustration as well. I think David Sobrero was relatively happy with how the first couple of corners had gone.
Yeah, he looked disappointed.
At the very least, Alessandro Bico gets another chance. It did look like he was struggling off the line initially.
Yeah, I mean, I will say for TC Esports, looking at them as a team, obviously Coco Lopez getting the victory there is great. Now they top the points here in Final Four. We've spoken a little bit about this throughout the season. We've spoken to Jack Keithley a couple of times. I've spoken to him in different competitions as well outside of the Visceral Esports Racing League. And I've got to say, TC Esports are moving a step forward, a step forward, a step forward. They keep going that little bit better year on year as we see them progress in the world of sim racing. And they are an outfit which I feel like a victory in this, taking the win in the Final Four. This could be the kind of thing that might tend to like start them off with winning basically left, right, and centre in the world of sim racing.
I'm trying to avoid making any World Cup jokes, especially given the day that it is today. But
yeah, right.
No, I'll avoid it. I agree with you in general, and
trying to save yourself from that one, are you?
Yeah, I'm swiftly making the left turn. But they arrived relatively with a splash. I remember the first couple of races that they did in the world of R1 initially, then slowly branching out first in iRacing special events, then a bit more into that world. eNASCAR has been their latest venture alongside of the things that they do in the real world, so lots of different things that the team is juggling, the black and gold, but definitely an outfit that is finding their feet across the board, and that's what's most surprising, across the board. eNASCAR, Thibaut Courtois, didn't necessarily think those would go hand in hand, but it works.
Look, the eNASCAR Coco Racing Series is one of the tippy top of the sim racing world, isn't it? You see some of the very best drivers taking part in it, so it's great to see. It fits in so right there. It fits in so right here as well in the VCO Esports Racing League, and maybe there might be another victory on the line for them.
Let's see if we can get this third race underway without any issues this time around. Lights up, engines rev, and we are go. And all four drivers are off the line. Who gets the best launch? Karekas, remember, in lane 4. Maybe at a slight disadvantage as things get underway. Alessandro Bico on the tight line, trying to get points on the board for Williams F1 team. Gaming seems to be relatively even across the 4 as we sweep up into the next couple of corners.
And you've got to remember, as much as it is even between them in the opening turn, the fact that Christoph Karekas had to go all the way around the outside, you'd almost feel that it would be more of a bit of a lead out of the opening corner than for Karekas. With that outside line, he's had to travel the most distance to get there. This is the tightest it's been in the opening portion as we climb to the top of the hill. But Sobrero now taking a bit of control in this race, having a lead of nearly a second at the top of the hill before dropping back down. Alessandro Bico not getting away quite as well as he did in the initial start of the race.
Gotta say that David Sobrero was frustrated that he didn't get to continue in the initial start, and I can kind of see why, because like a bat out of hell, he has just roared out of the starting blocks. 1.5 seconds clear of Alessandro Bico if timing is to be held true, and as we officially complete the first of the 4 laps, Thibaut Casbon drops into lane 4. He is a full 2 seconds back of the race leader.
Yeah, I mean, Sobrero is driving phenomenally at the moment, isn't he? You're starting to understand why maybe he was a little bit disappointed with how his initial start went, and then obviously they were effectively pulled out of it, and he looked visibly disappointed on his webcam. Starting to understand why, because it seems as though Sobrero has got some serious pace in this car, and he knew he got a good launch. Well, thankfully, he's done it again. But wow, fresh after the victory here for Coque Lopez, Sobrero is powering the TC Esports car to quite the lead here, and this would put them on 130 points. They'd need to score 80 more to get into finalist mode, which 80 more, that's a win and a second place over the 2 races that would follow.
And Jack Keithley finished second, right? So the team in general performing strongly, and Keithley would have started in lane 4, right? So I think things boding quite well. I guess it was also meant to be. I saw something on social media where Jack Keithley, known for being a wrestling fan, had the championship belts up over his shoulders, swaggering in much like you would as a wrestling champion. But those
God, he'd love to win one, wouldn't he?
He would love. I mean, the championship belts are such a cool prize. Jack Keithley wants one of them. That camera shows the gap that Sobrero's got right now.
Yeah, it shows that Bico, Caracas and Casabon are all really nicely quite close and snug with each other, and Sobrero has just decided to run away. He doesn't want to be a part. They must all smell or something, because he's out of here. He is on the outside. He's in lane 4 at the moment, so he'll have to cross under. But the fact that he's got this lead, he's in lane 4. Obviously, he's going to lose a little bit when he switches back over to lane 1, but then he has the tightest run all around the circuit. This could be a monumental lead for Sobrero by the end of the race.
A bit of a statement. We've been keeping our eyes on him, I think it's been fair to say, and slowly but surely continues to show why he's one to watch. And interesting thing for TC is they've got 4 drivers in the playing field at the very least, so one more name to throw into the mix coming up, but David Sobrero has not just thrown his name into the hat, he's made sure that we're all going to remember exactly how strong this performance was. It's going to be 2.2 seconds, the margin coming onto the final lap. I think David Sobrero has got a chance now to continue building to a 3-second advantage.
Indeed, and it could be the largest winning margin of the Visceral Esports Racing League Final 4 here in 2026 so far. I think it's definitely going to be that. But really, really important for your teams like Vitality, for Thibaut Casbon here, to get second place, to get the important points for finishing in second place. Yes, the 30 points for doing it would be very well rewarded, but he's got to keep Caracas at bay here. TC Esports will be risking pulling out quite the margin, at least on their point standing, not just in this race. Look at that lead at the top of the hill. Incredible.
Remarkable stuff. Meanwhile, Bico at the back of the pack in what might be a bit of a swan song for the Williams F1 Team Gaming. Alessandro Bico running in the Porsche Esports Super Cup qualifying races yesterday as a privateer. It's not going their way by any means. Final lap of this race, just one more corner left to go. Bit of a wiggle for David Sobrero, but that car looks as planted as you would want. 3.5 seconds clear of the rest of the chasing pack. It's TC Esports taking one step closer to finalist mode here, the ERL Final 4.
Unbelievable drive from Sobrero, and you've got to say, if you're TC Esports, well, you're hoping you get in finalist mode with him in the next race, because if that's the case, I mean, obviously, yeah, we're not getting times here and stuff, so we're not 100% sure as to how close it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was definitely the fastest of the day so far. Incredible performance.
very, very strong. And these teams have all had to make their picks and nominations for who drives in which race already, so no changing now, unfortunately, even as you see the event unfolding. We'll catch up with Sobrero in a couple of moments' time, and looking forward to asking him about the false start and then the subsequent restart and how much he felt a difference. Let's catch up with him now. David Sobrero, winner of Race 3 here in the ERL Final 4. Bit of a false start there, David, and I think you were pretty upset initially about the red flag before we got back underway. Did you have a good initial start before we got things back going?
Hello. Sorry, when you say false start, I thought you meant a jump start. Now I got scared for a second.
Ah, sorry, I scared you.
Nah, I mean, it was a bit intense because, you wait so much on the grid, like waiting for the lights to go out, and my heart is like, pumping a bit because it's so much weight and it's so intense. And then I got a very good getaway in the first and a very good first few corners, and then all of a sudden I'm back to menu, so I got a bit upset. But it didn't destroy my confidence for the second run, so yeah, I just kept it calm and it was enough to win.
I clearly didn't disrupt your confidence. Wish I could have that same sort of focus. You might have had the strongest performance in those first 3 races from Lewis and mine eyes. You seem to just be so confident. Tell us about the car. How much power does it have and how easy is it to control?
It's not easy. It has a lot of torque. I don't know if it's the grip of the car, of the tarmac, of the track, but everything feels so slippery. So and the car is super sensitive on throttle because of the torque. So on the twitchy sections is like really tricky and difficult to get a good exit, and also on the fast corners because this car has no ABS, so a lot of times you brake and the car just washes out and goes straight, and that's something that on this specific format is really important to not to do, because you don't want to hit the walls or touch the curbs, and if you avoid that, you're already on a good way to have a good performance in the race. And I didn't know that I had one of the best performances. That's what you're telling me, but yeah, I just try to not do mistakes really, and that's how I think that we have to win this competition. So yeah.
Easier said than done, but great effort in race 3, David. Best of luck for the rest of the night.
Thank you so much.
David Sobrero, winner in the 3rd race of the ERL Final 4, and now 30 points clear. RTC Esports from Vitality Simracing, but both teams, crucially, Lewis, now halfway towards getting into finalist mode.
All teams hitting the second part of their requirement using 3 different drivers. Interestingly enough, we'll have Vitality, Williams, and Visceral all using a driver they've already used before, which is fine because they've completed their 3 mandatory, 3 different drivers requirement. TC Esports are not, though. Nicholas Arriagada will be the one behind the wheel for this race. And I've thought about this, Arjuna. I actually don't understand the logic of using more than the 3, because the 3 you have control over how much practice you're doing. I wonder what the logic is of using a 4th different driver. Like, surely you're just you're asking for a little bit of trouble. If you know you've got 3 drivers that are fast, use them.
I was thinking about this as well, and I can make the argument both ways. You're not taking practice time away from each other like you might in a team race in the real world, right? Where you're sharing a car in a practice session. You can all go practice at the same time when the servers are effectively open from how I've understood it. But like you say, you have a little less experience from race to race. We may not see David Sobrero again now till, race 6 potentially at the earliest, so all things to consider, whereas Marcel Chinchik, so strong in race 1, we'll get to see him now again, and surely that does help the rhythm, the momentum for the team as they just continue working through what Marcel seemed to make obvious was a very normal sort of day for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they do the same thing here in this race where Marcel Chinchik is victorious, obviously he'll be potentially one race away from getting the team into finalist mode. It'll be 150 points for them. Obviously, TC Esports could score really well here if Arriagada is able to get a lap into the books. But we're closing in, obviously, on that potential finalist mode. But then you have to win one in it. And this is where you're absolutely right. And this is the bit that you have no control over, right? You can't just go, oh, we're in finalist mode. Right, time to stick our fastest boy behind the wheel. off you go. It's not as simple as that. You select your drivers already, and you kind of just have to roll with it. And if you get into Finalist Mode and then suddenly you're in a race where it is your slowest driver, respectfully, that's tough.
I think we're having an issue where one of our drivers has joined in the wrong mode, unfortunately. So, again, teething issues with a new game. So they'll get that figured out, and we'll get underway in a couple of moments' time. Don Blyer looks like he's ready to just get this race underway right now. Only one driver has really cracked much of a smile when they've been on camera so far, and so, you know, I'd like to be in the voice chat of Visceral Esports. Sammy Joe, Abby Narkle. They're having some fun as we get ready to go.
Yeah, look, some teams have a good time with it. I think always with events like this. And
there's a smile from Marcel. Sorry,
he smiles sometimes. He's quite a giggly chap, actually. No, it is. I know this is obviously one of those ones where we want this event in person, and it was thinking back to the event that we had at Maastricht Sim Formula Europe. I've said it before. I've said it quite a lot on this broadcast. Over the season, of all of the LAN events that I've ever done in sim racing, Arjuna, it was honestly the most enjoyable one. The vibes were great from everyone. The event itself was live events. A lot of sometimes the live event, the event itself is almost like secondary to just being there and being a part of it. And obviously, it is a bit of a shame that we're not in person for this one. But you know, down the line, we are in person again, and these drivers do get another chance at it to get to a final and to be in that kind of atmosphere. Everyone was so friendly and chummy with each other, and I only stacked it once whilst running.
I was going to say everyone was friendly except you, and then
my knees recovered. It's all right.
You had to go and get into a running race. Running race.
Yeah, look, it's fine.
12.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, right? If I had my current running shoes and not what I was running in then, which let me tell you, they were
not running shoes.
You know when you leave your tires on your car for a little bit too long, and then there's literally no tread in them, and they have very little grip, right? Bingo.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my shoes were at. And starting a running race in, was it January or February? January, the end of January, wasn't it? So it was cold, it was slippery, and I weigh quite a lot, Arjuna. And let me tell you, this race between myself, Cameron, Roger, and you and O'Leary, I lasted but one step.
Do you have now those illegal running shoes now? Is that why you want to go for a running race now?
They're not illegal.
But you know the illegal shoes that I'm talking about.
I actually don't. They run for you.
They make shoes that the officials in running will not let you wear.
Well, is it because
they're too springy or whatever? I don't run enough because I value my knees a bit too much to go and do that.
If you run on those kind of shoes, they are a lot more bouncy and they don't do as much damage to your knees anyway. So,
really? So the illegal shoes are actually good for my knees?
They'll be better. They'll be better for you. Let's not use the word good, shall we? Let's not use the word good. Good is a relative term. If you are concerned of your knees, you're doing the right thing, Arjuna. Just focus on cycling. It's much cooler and faster. It's just a bit faffy to get in all the gear, isn't it?
Well, the best part about it, I found out, is now that I'm taking my bike out to the racetracks and networking, air quotes,
you're one of them.
I can write my bike off as a business expense. And before anyone says no, you can't.
Hello, taxman.
I actually got messages from drivers going, "We saw you on your bike on Instagram. Can we go for a ride during the next race?" It's like, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Can we do the same thing for golf clubs? Oh, Gene, the next time I see you, I want to play golf.
But I play too much golf to. It is my mental health, so maybe there is an argument to be made.
You're really
dangerous. My golf clubs and then everything else that goes into it.
It's all right. There's some brand new P790s. I'm sure you can pick up for the low price of
$1,500 to a business membership now and put it under my car. You're giving me bad ideas, Lewis. Bad ideas.
Well, this is what happens when we await race 4 here in the VCO Esports Racing League Final 4. Unfortunately, me and Arjuna get into some heinous ideas as to how to play other sports. It's all right, though.
Just come over. We've just had our summer cultivation at Salina Golf Club, so
yeah,
course will be beautiful. Go play some.
I'm not at peak golf at the moment, mate. So I'll pass for now. But the drivers will not be passing their opportunity at a victory here. It is Marcel Cinčić who'll be starting from lane 4 all the way on the left-hand side, and for the 4th time here in the VCO Esports Racing League Final 4, we are racing, and Cinčić was the one who had the best start of the quartet. Into the opening corner they go. Samijo Abinagel, who went off the road a couple of times in his race a bit earlier on, kicks the rear end out of the Vickers Ache, climbing up through that opening corner. Leads by 5/10. Cinčić, though, on the outside run, has overtaken Blyer and Arriagada for TC Esports.
I wonder if it's called the 8 because it's such a struggle to keep it under control when you're squirreling off the line. Sammy Joe taking advantage of lane 1 to build a bit of a buffer at the start, but remember, it's going to all come back together as we get this great drone shot. Marcel Cinčić doing a decent job in lane 4, and he's the one to keep an eye on. If the margin to the rest of the field is not that large at the end of this first lap, he's done his job.
Indeed, because obviously he'll be skipping over and taking the shortest run then to the race from that point. He's already doing the longer lap as we ride on board with Nico Arriagada, and you can see the vitality there on the right-hand side. This TC Esports car is the points leader at the moment. Dropping down and under the circuit comes Marcel Cinčić, and Arriagada behind the wheel has got a lot on his plate to try and not score the 10 points that you get for finishing in 4th place. Definitely wouldn't be good enough. 50 points for the victory, then 30, 20 and 10. And Samijo Abinagel currently your race leader. Oh, get off those curves. Arriagada wrestling with it on the start-finish straight.
You know, as we watch some of this as well, the point structure, I'd been thinking about this before this race, but it's very skewed to consistency at the front, right? 50, 30, 20, 10. It's a big jump between 1st and 2nd, and you look at 1st down to 4th. Can't really afford to finish too many races down in 4th position, which is what the majority of the field has avoided doing. Don Blyer trying to avoid that fate for the Williams F1 Team Gaming once again. Cinčić, relatively decent job though on lap 1, within 1.5 seconds of the leader.
Oh, I think this is going to be a Cinčić victory, I won't lie. Samijo Abinagel is on the started this one from lane 1. So what is it? It's lane 1 was victorious twice. It was lane 2 in the previous one that was victorious, and seems as though it could well be lane 4 this time that could be the victorious one, as Samijo Abinagel has to deal with the pressures of Marcel Cinčić. He remains as close as he can, fully committed from Don Blyer. DB comes through the final turn and back out onto the start-finish straight. See the speed as they roll their way past.
One thing that's clear, though, is Arriagada struggling, and with David Sobrero slotted in next, Lewis, and he'll be back in lane 2 from where he won the previous race. If he does that again, you know, it's one step closer for TC to be in finalist mode, but with Arriagada all the way down the back, it's need an additional race beyond that, no question. Whereas if you're right and Marcel Cinčić is able to grab the victory here, it's going to be just the 3rd place finish away for Vitality to finish, to enter, I should say, finalist mode. So they are inching closer, and look at that margin, 1 second. Abinagel into lane 4.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a tricky one as to who's going to be the first team to enter finalist mode. Really, it looks like it's going to be between TC and Vitality, and with this victory from Marcel Cinčić to put them on 150 points to be a race away potentially from getting themselves in the finalist mode. So see Abinagel there working his way into lane 4 to the outside, and you can see how close the Vitality man already is of Marcel Cinčić. You've got to say, Cinčić surely is the favourite as we enter the final lap of the race. About 7/10 is what we assume the difference is in the lap. So we should be ahead by a couple of tenths of a second. I mean, Samijo Abinagel might be past here for 3rd.
It's going to be close, but he might just have Don Blyer covered off. trying to think. It's 1.5 seconds or so. He's got just enough of a margin, I would assume, as things run right now. Chinchik inches closer as we get this look from up above as, oh, Sammy Joe, a little bit squirrely, but that's okay sometimes when you switch back through the left and the right. Just make sure you get the power down nicely and roll the momentum through.
Got to be smooth and consistent. It's what we've said about before. That's what a lot of the drivers have been telling us about this car. You can be a bit aggressive there. Sammy Joe Abinakul turning in maybe a little bit too early, clobbering the curb. And that's the thing, as much as you said it earlier, it's street circuit vibes. You've got the walls not that far away. These curbs as well are absolutely lethal. And Sammy Joe Abinakul, as he drops down into the underpass, we'll have a bit of a drag race here with Dom Blyett to try and keep second position. Final corner for Marcel Chinchik, and Vitality look to take their second victory here in the Visceral Esports Racing League Final 4. Drag race to the line for second place though. It'll be Chinchik on top. Dom Blyett will finish in second position, and the drag race will see Sammy Joe Abinakul not quite steal away third. So he'll remain in third, didn't quite steal away second. Nico Arriagada, only 10 points for the TC Esports team. They'll be on 140. They cannot get into Finalist Mode. No one can get into Finalist Mode in the next race, apart from Vitality, I think.
Credit to Blyer, Williams F1 Team Gaming, first non-fourth place finish for them, but back-to-back now for Chinchik in races 1 and 4. And Vitality should be tied with TC Esports if the math holds correct. However, more importantly, one race win away from Finalist Mode.
I was going to say, I think they should be 10 points ahead of TC Esports, should they not? I think it should, think.
Oh yes, because TC finished fourth at the end, you're right.
Yeah, it should be TC Esports on 140 and Vitality on 150, and just potentially the race victory away from Finalist Mode. Marcel Chinchik joins us here in the commentary booth. Second race done for you, second victory, as well as you race your way towards Finalist Mode. What are you making of it so far, this car track combination? Seems to be working well for you, Marcel.
Yeah, it feels pretty great so far. I mean, it's an interesting combination. Let's say it's not bad to drive, but for sure it has some moments where it starts to be like really fast, and when you can nail it, then it can be like super good. So yeah, actually, I was not sure if I won it or not. I was wondering because on the results I saw I didn't, but at the end, then Thibaut told me that I won it, so I'm really happy for it. And so we reached the finalist mode. Then we have to win one more. So let's hope that we can do it fast.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, you've proven already that you can be victorious from lane 1, victorious from lane 4. A lot of drivers, we had conversations and thoughts that maybe it will be lane 1, which is the maybe a little bit of an advantage there. Are you kind of feeling that as a driver who's now won from multiple lanes?
Yeah, I heard something else on the Discord about this, so I was curious to see, but I was like pushing the same as I was pushing on the lane 1, and it worked out. So I think I would say all lines probably the same. It's just yeah, at the end felt like good.
Next up in the race will be Yuri Toman trying to take on Sabero, Lanuza and Kerakis. Now, I don't know if you saw the previous race that we just had. Sabero looks pretty fast. What do you think the chances are for Yuri Toman to maybe take a victory here and get the team into Finalist Mode right away, basically?
Yeah, he was super fast, pretty fast, but still, when you're that fast, I think you have to be super close to the limit, and it's really easy to make a mistake. But he was doing a great job, and I hope also that Jiri can maximize the performance and doing without the mistakes. So let's see if we stay around this 1-2, then I think we should be good, even if we don't win it right now. But I think it's possible also to win it already.
Well, cheers, Marcel. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
There we go, Arjuna. Marcel Chinchik victorious now. Vitality potentially just one race victory away from getting into Finalist Mode, and then another one from winning the whole competition.
Crucially, David Zabrero back in the TC Esports car for the next race. Even a win won't be enough for him to reach that 200-point threshold. And Visceral and Williams F1 Team Gaming at this point, Lewis, slightly a bit too far behind, I would wager, to really be thinking about even Finalist Mode. They may be thinking more about just getting enough points to finish in front of one another at the end of the day, when we'll score the points for those that aren't champions.
Exactly. That's how this competition works. It is a maximum of 10 races, right? So if if we don't get a team into Finalist Mode and then win, which is unlikely but possible, we will run up to 10 races, and then if that were to happen, whoever has the highest points at the end of the day, effectively they will be victorious. Not like a normal championship reaching its climax. But the thing this is what I think Finalist Mode, we always focus on the top because it's interesting, right? Because it's where the wins come from. But then the battles for those lower down is actually sometimes far more interesting because they're doing a race that they don't know when it ends, right? Yeah, the teams battling for third place there between Williams and Visceral. If Williams can get themselves ahead, I mean, they'll be sat there thinking, right, we need to stay ahead and hope that we're ahead at the time that the winner of the race actually ends the comp. But that's not always the case.
We're getting closer. It could be race 6 that decides things, with Vitality Simracing 1 win away from Finalist Mode. The 5th race of the ERL Final 4 is go, and a good start from Christoph Karakis in lane 4. And we've just seen most recent race, the winner come from the outside lane into the opening left-hander, and while David Sobrero might not have gotten off the line so well already, pitches the car in with confidence and starts to see if he can build an advantage, but expecting it to be fairly even on this first lap. Noah Lanuza hoping for a bit more pace and performance than we saw from him in the first effort. Yuri Toman all the way to the edge of the track, but he's pushing, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what Marcel Chinchik was just saying in his interview about your likes of Sobrero, that they, to get the most out of the circuit, you have to push to the limit, you have to take a whole lot of risk in doing so, and it feels like Yuri Toman is throwing everything he possibly can at it just to try and get that victory. He knows that a victory for the team will put them into Finalist Mode and will leave them one victory away from ending things earlier than any of us were really predicting, but it does seem as though, as the young meme lords of the world might have it and might want it, it could be race 6 or 7, which could end the whole thing. That would be a meme, wouldn't it?
Just trying not to right-click and disconnect you from this Discord.
Go for it.
Underneath the bridge, Caracas goes. He's not lost that much time to the top 2. Let's see if he can find a bit more speed on these next couple of laps and close and put the pressure on. Sobrero, oh, that's wide and into the gravel, but he's avoided the wall just about. Yuri Toman slips through, though, back to the lead of the race. And could that one mistake cost TC Esports a chance of stopping Vitality for entering Finalist Mode? That might be the other thing they're thinking about right now.
Fascinatingly close here between Vitality and TC Esports, the two teams which are proving themselves as the favourites here for the VCO Esports Racing League Final 4 for our season finale here in 2026. It's been an excellent performance thus far from both teams, and we've still got a lot to talk about when it comes to the rest of this competition here today. And you can see these two pushing each other to the limit as they drop down from the top of the hill. They're in lanes 2 and 3 at the moment. Sobrero will move out to lane 4, and then we'll have to do the drop under and cut through on the final lap. We really won't know where they'll unfold at the end of it. A little wide there from Toby, but he managed to find his way back towards the apex. This is one thing that we kind of maybe haven't spoken about. They can hear and see each other at various points. I wonder if that means, oh no, I'll just push it a little bit harder. I'll just push it a little bit harder. They're right there. I'll just push that a little bit harder. Are either of them going to crack?
I mean, that's what it's like when I see Bowie Knife 99 in front of me. You know I'm going for it.
I was taking him out.
And straight through him. Out of turn 1. Sobrero now into lane 4. It means that Toman's on lane 4 on the final lap, though. So anytime Sobrero's going to lose it in the final couple of corners of the lap in particular, Toman liable to do the same. But maybe with a short run to the line, kicks the rear end out. Precision needed on both sides. I have no idea which way this is going. I'm sitting on the fence this time, Lewis.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because part of my gut feeling says that with Sobrero remaining this close but having the outside run all the way around, that it should be the advantage to Sobrero. But I think it's so tight. I think this is going to be a very tight drag race between the two of them. But then see, it ebbs and flows like that, and now I'm thinking maybe it is going to be Vitality. Well, now we're going to be in the dark a little bit, at least for a lap, as Sobrero drops up and under, reclimbs, and they've got 4.3 kilometers ahead of them to decide who is going to be out on top in race number 5.
Let's see where Caracas is in comparison to Sobrero. Still 1.9 seconds. Sobrero's really in with a shout here, no question. So 1 lap left to go. I love how Coque Lopez described this when he chatted to us as well. Don't think about it as 4 distinct laps, no. It's one continuous 17 and a bit kilometer loop. Much like the Nordschleife, each corner unique and treated as its own. Jiri Toman now in the precarious lane 4 where we expect you to lose a bit of time. At least for the time being, pushes the issue as we watch on board with Sobrero in the top right corner of the screen.
Look at them dart and slide their way around. Sobrero at the moment half a second behind. You can see him in the top right and how committed he's going to be. He's on the full inside here. I think TC Esports are the ones most likely to be victorious here. With Coque Lopez has already been victorious in the previous race. This could be looking very good for TC Esports. I think Jiri Toman may have even gone out a little bit wide, but he's got the inside run as he'll flick up and under the circuit. Who is going to come out on top here between Vitality and TC? Either way, it's going to be close.
And remember, this might also be a case of TC thinking, let's stop Vitality from entering Finalist Mode and having no one else to push them in the 6th and next race through the final corner. Who's going to get it on the run to the line? David Sobrero with an imperious run in those last 2 laps, a 1 second margin at the end. It's 2 wins for him in the TC Black and Gold, and now 10 points shy of Finalist Mode. We're going to race 6 at the very least, no question about that.
Yeah, we're going to need, well, I think we're guaranteed here to, obviously we're going to race 6, fair enough. We'll go to race 7, but I think we're in a high likelihood here, Arjuna, that in race 7, it will be Finalist Mode potentially here for both TC and Vitality. So it could well be race 7, the deciding factor here for the VCO Esports Racing League Final 4.
Getting closer. And I tell you what, these drivers who are having now repeated success at some point going to get a bit frustrated having to talk to the 2 of us here in the booth. Don't think Sobrero is going to complain too much though. Winner once again. David, an interesting race there, and we weren't sure if it was going to be close between you and Jiri Toman, but your performance 1 second clear, put all the dots together once again.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either because on my second lane, on my second lap on the 3rd lane, I went super deep on the braking and I thought I was fine. So yeah, that was a costly mistake. But then, I mean, because I know that the 4th lane is slower and the 1st lane is faster, when I was like side by side with Jiri already on the 4th lane, I already had in my mind that as soon as I'll pass the tunnel and do my 1st lane, I'll be ahead again. So I didn't stress too much about that, to be honest. I just kept driving and yeah, no pressure.
No pressure, and now 10 points away, we think, from Finalist Mode. So basically we know that the team will enter Finalist Mode after the next race. Do you know when you're back in the car?
I don't know. We are planning that right now with the manager and doing our driver selection. But yeah, next race we can just finish. We can afford to finish last and already enter Finalist Mode, so that's a bit of a relief. And then we're probably gonna put someone that's more confident to go for the win after that. So yeah.
Makes it sound so nice and easy. Talk to us about getting this car off the line, because it seemed like this race, it was a bit harder than the previous one.
Off the line in what sense? In terms of...
At the start.
I mean, I don't think there's much, to be honest. For me, it feels exactly the same every single time. I don't know if you look different on the broadcast, but for me, it's always the same. So actually, the start was even better. So yeah, it's not too much complicated, to be honest with you.
I love it. Thanks, David. We'll see if we can get you back in and finish the job for TC Esports.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Remember, can't do consecutive races, so David Sobrero is not going to be in the next race for sure. And it means that just a 4th place finish enough for them to get the Magic 200. For Vitality, 3rd and better, good enough for them. Visceral and Williams F1 Team Gaming now, though, can't do much except watch and wait, Lewis, as to what the other 2 teams are going to end up doing.
Yeah, look, it's a guarantee now that TC Esports will be in Finalist Mode in the next race, right? As long as they finish, I'm pretty sure even a retirement would actually net you 10 because you'd be the 4th on the list. So they're guaranteed to it, right? And so the only way they can really deny Vitality is if Vitality were to end up in 4th position themselves, and then TC in the... Basically, what we're saying is it is highly, highly, highly likely that we will go into the next race with the 2 fastest teams in Finalist Mode. That does not mean, though, that the next race will be the last race we do, because if they are both in Finalist Mode and then Williams or Visceral go, right, we fancy being victorious, so let's get after it, then you never know.
Never know indeed. Surprising things have happened, although I would think today, based on the performances that we have seen, that the 2 teams likely to be in Finalist Mode are the ones most likely to be at the very front. Thibaut Casabon for Vitality, Koke Lopez back in for TC Esports. Don Bly was pretty quick though for the Williams F1 Team Gaming, and Sammy Joe's once again having a smile.
Definitely. I say some of these teams enjoying it, some of these drivers enjoying it, and that's the most important bit with an event like this, as we've said before. Yes, of course, talking about LAN, fair enough. But still, Florian Harsper, the big boss of VCA, will want everyone just to have a good time here. We're just here for a bit of banter. Obviously, here on a day chock full of sports. Obviously, the F1 Belgian Grand Prix, the finale of the Open, small competition you might have heard of, the World Cup. I think it's coming to a close today, but we haven't clashed at this time.
After that,
we haven't decided that this year we're going to clash with it. Do you know what's really funny that I found, Arjuna, is to talk to Ewan O'Leary as if he wasn't the one that joined us for that, because I keep forgetting that it was.
I always do too.
and he hates it. He's very upset that we forget that he exists. But that's fine. We're not forgetting about anything here. Race 6 of the Visceral Esports Racing League Final 4 is go, with a chance for 2 of our teams to enter Finalist Mode. Vitality and TC are definitely the favourites to do it. TC definitely will be in it at the end of this race. Vitality, unless they finish 4th, will also join them. For Dominic Blyett, for Sammy Joe Abinarkle, they're fighting each other at the lower end of the points to see who's going to finish in 3rd through the opening complex. Sammy Joe Abinarkle has lane 1 here as we climb up this right hand and then into the fast left, which then sees us climb even further up the hill after this little chicane to the top of the hill and that hairpin right at the crest.
Just love watching these onboards, seeing the difficulty when you kind of let the restraints of a GT3 car a little bit more loose. Dominic Blyer in that last lane, struggling as you'd expect. Really bumpy there for Sammy Joe as he flicks the car in and drops it down into the next sequence of corners. Thibaut Casabon closes in the Vitality bright yellow machine, and he's doing plenty. Let's not forget, it's pretty easy right now for the black and gold and for that bright yellow machine to do what they need to do to get into Finalist Mode.
DB runs underneath lanes, what is 1, 2 and 3, that they'll become 2, 3 and 4 as he rises up in lane 1 himself. Let's see what the gaps are going to be. Obviously, he now has the shortest run from this point all the way to the end of this race. Sammy Joe Abinarkle looked a little bit under pressure there from Thibaut Casabon, but it's ebbed and flown, grown and shrunk. And it does indeed go slightly the way of Sammy Joe Abinarkle. Dominic Blyer don't necessarily rule him out of this for being there. I don't know if you've just seen what I've just seen. We've obviously just received the entry list for race 7 here, Arjuna. I don't know if you noticed it.
I have indeed, and I'm maybe not surprised that we're going to see David Sobrero and Marcel Chinchik back into the cars. We were thinking before we went live, Lewis, that race 6 might be the one that things got done. It's going to be race 7, isn't it?
Almost certainly going to be race 7. I mean, look, still Noah Lanuza and Christoph Korekis could do something for Williams F1 Team Gaming and Visceral Esports in the next race. But for right now, considering the 2 drivers that really have shown their pace and shown their teeth are battling for the teams that themselves have shown their pace and shown their teeth in this competition. So very excited for race 7. You can see there Thibaut Casabon out a little bit wide. Thibaut Casabon can't relax too much though. If Thibaut Casabon finishes 4th, Vitality will not be in Finalist Mode. They cannot afford that. So he must still finish 3rd or better. TC Sports for Koke Lopez, it actually doesn't matter. Regardless, they're going to be in Finalist Mode.
Nice and simple, but Koke Lopez last place doesn't quite sit well with a driver of his ilk, does it? So expect him to push the pace. Again, I think I'm just a little bit surprised, Lewis, for Williams F1 Team Gaming. As much as, yes, this might be the kind of swan song for the team, it's kind of out of character for them to kind of be a non-factor, as much as they've had one good effort with that second place finish from Dom. It's just been a weird kind of day for them.
It's been a weird day, and maybe not necessarily a weird season. It's been an all right season. They've been fairly competitive, but they weren't great on race room. And like you say, for a team that we've seen do so well in the world of sim racing, and bowing out, whatever, this has not been the performance that we would expect from the multi-name using Williams F1 Team Gaming Sim Racing Club Esports. Got to chuck them all in there, haven't we? Academy. Community. Yeah.
There we go.
Bless him.
And for those wondering, it's not an official announcement by any means, but Alessandro Bico was competing yesterday as a privateer in the Porsche Esports Super Cup regional qualifiers. We've heard that Williams kind of winding down the majority of their sim racing stuff, with the exception of maybe some of the bigger things. So we'll see if we see some of the drivers back in another capacity with maybe some new colors for the next season of the ERL.
Exactly, and there is still opportunity in the world of sim racing for a whole lot of these drivers. And I mean, look, I've always said, obviously nothing against Williams at all, but there's a few teams in sim racing where I'm always looking at them thinking their team is too large, like they have too many drivers. And there is one specific team in sim racing that is maybe a little bit too big, but obviously their work fine, so it doesn't matter. But Drago Racing, obviously they're far by the wayside by having too many drivers, so it's one of those things to keep an eye on. But for Williams, look, they've got a whole load of drivers. We'll see them still in sim racing, obviously with F1 sim racing and such, but we'll see how long they can hang on in the world like this. Into the final couple of corners then on race number 6. Koke Lopez is going to be your race leader. Is he going to lead all the way to the line though? Well, Sammy Joe Abinarkle steals something away for Visceral. Thibaut Casabon, importantly, is in 4th, and it could be that they miss out on finalist mode here. Sammy Joe Abinarkle will win the race for Visceral. Koke Lopez, Dom Blyer, and what was the one thing that we said couldn't happen? Thibaut Casabon and Vitality could not be 4th. They're 4th.
Sammy Joe's not even worried about that. He's had a fun race out on top, and he's looking forward to chatting with you, Lewis. But my goodness, that is big news, because now it's all on David Sobrero. If he gets it done, no chance for Chinchik to really hold back. He's got to win this race effectively to stop Sobrero from being able to close things out.
Yeah, and it could be a requirement of an 8th race. You'd suspect 8th, 9th, maybe unlikely for a 9th, but for Sammy Joe there, a very important victory for Visceral, obviously pulling themselves clear of Williams at the bottom of the table. But a superb performance, a superb drive. Closest race basically of the day though, between those four. They were very tight across the line, the quartet, and Sammy Joe joins us now in the commentary booth. Sammy Joe, what a drive from you. Victory for the Visceral team, and it looked as though you were having quite a lot of fun there at the end of the race. You put a smile on your face. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, good performance, and honestly, I'm so happy with the team's performance in general from the start of the season. Just perfect, and I'm like, it's such an honor to be competing with those guys. Christy, Isaac, Yoni, just perfect. And speaking of this race, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot because yeah, this format, the Race of Champions format, is kind of close to rallying, quote unquote. So yeah, I mean, extremely happy, and let's keep that momentum going.
Both myself and Arjuna were talking about that a little bit earlier on in this broadcast. Obviously, your experience, you're a multi-disciplined driver, and you've got plenty of experience in the world of rally, of course. How does that? What is that like? You rally esports and stuff, then going to wheel-to-wheel racing, and then kind of returning to something that's a little bit closer, in a certain extent, to your rally experience.
Honestly, it's kind of special it's kind of my specialty, to say the least, that like the fast adaptability in general between sim racing and rallying. So yeah, it's very good that like, you know, competing always on top split in every series. So yeah, grateful for that.
Now, finally, before I let you go, have a bit of a breather and we'll get ourselves race 7 underway. This evening hasn't gone amazing. It's not gone terribly for the team, but it's not gone amazing for the team. The top two have kind of been able to pull away a little bit. Do you think that, you know, still as a team, that maybe there is a chance for you to take some consistent victories? And obviously it's not over until it's over.
The only thing I'm going to say is we never give up.
I like that. Well, best of luck. Cheers, Samjo.
Thank you, guys.
Samjo, Abby Narkle. Obviously, a superb performance victory. They could get, with a victory here, Arjuna, they could get themselves into Finalist Mode for Visceral. Vitality, 10 points short. TC Esports, they are in Finalist Mode.
And now the question is, do you really count out David Sobrero from being able to win again? Because that's really the question. Can Karekas, Chinchik, Lanuza, the 3 drivers standing before him, prevent TC Esports from winning race 7 and grabbing the ERL Championship belts for 2026? Jack Keithley, effectively now the wrestling manager. All he's got to do is be the perfect Paul Heyman to the Brock Lesnar that stands in front of us. And
wow,
I'm not going against Sobrero, I'll be honest, mainly because we're going to have to speak to him if he wins in about 4 minutes time.
That was a lot of names that I don't know who they are.
But Jack Keithley does.
Jack Keithley does. Has he paid you to say those names?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, right. Start charging. Start charging. This is the important bit. Look, I will say almost. This is to really clarify it. Almost whatever you want me to say on broadcast, as long as you pay me enough money. That's an open thing to you watching. The almost there is the key factor.
Almost. Well, you could say anything once, right, on a broadcast. And,
yeah,
exactly
that is
once.
such a good point. Any amount of money, I will say it once, but it's fine.
The good news is, I know our big boss, Florian, he's also a wrestling aficionado, so he will have appreciated my Paul Heyman reference there. I'm wondering who else. Dane Baird maybe, but he's off on a golf course. I can't quite believe it. Dane Baird on a golf course.
I know. Golf's becoming more and more popular here, Arjun. I'm seeing lots of I've been messaging some of my mates that race in a small championship called Formula 2. Don't know if you've heard of it. No name drops, don't worry about it. But a few of those getting into golf now. So, golf.
Got to get that as a tax write-off as well. Here we go. Marcel Chinchik's getting himself steeled and ready to go. What did Sammy Joe say Mr. Karakis' nickname was? Christy?
Christy.
Yeah. That one's sticking.
Yeah. Well, we can call him Chrissy if you want. Just remove the T. That'd be hilarious.
Just give him a new nickname, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Go on, Chrissy. Look, a win for them, and it is Finalist Mode. Marcel Chinchik will get into Finalist Mode regardless. We could go into the next match with 3 teams in Finalist Mode. Who knows?
That would be wild as well. It would mean, effectively, we would be settled in the next race. No question about that. Noah Lanuza, ominous, as he sits and waits with all the LEDs behind him. I've just seen the entry list for race 4, and if we do... race 8, I should say. Nice. If we do get to race 8, it would be the final outing for Yuri Toman in the world of sim racing. We haven't mentioned it today, posted on social media that this will be the last in the long journey of sim racing for him. 5 years with the team that he is stuck with behind the scenes, and we've had some fun with him. And I'm hoping that he's got plenty more fun to come in the future, Lewis.
Yeah, look, it's a big shame we love a little bit of Yuri Toman, but that's the world of sim racing. There's chops and changes left, right, and centre. People changing teams, removing themselves from sim racing, going on to search something else in their life. That is just how it goes. And Yuri Toman, he's given so much to the world of sim racing. At least he's probably had to deal with mine and your voice for a little bit too much, probably, of his sim racing career.
Best part about it, best part about retirement is not having to listen to Lewis and myself. Here we go for maybe the final time tonight. One team in finalist mode. Can TC Esports get it done in the Esports Racing League Final 4? Marcel Cinchik with a rocket of a start though as we head up towards turn 1. Lane 4 though for David Sobrero, so he's going to lose some time on this first lap and then have to fight back in the subsequent 3 trips around in this just over 17-kilometer odyssey. That is the final race potentially of the ERL over the top of the crest. It's still neck and neck, and Christoph Karakis' technical issue, it leaves us with 3.
Indeed, Christoph Karakis out of the race for Visceral. No chance for them to get themselves into finalist mode then, and so it's the battle for victory between Sobrero and Cinchik. Can Cinchik continue Vitality's run? They came into this as the points leader after the season of the VCO Esports Racing League, and a win here, it will get them into finalist mode. We are getting told there's going to be a restart because of the technical issues for Christoph Karakis. I was wondering if that might have been the case. We had that a little bit earlier.
I was thinking the same. No force feedback was the message, and so quick restart. And so it's definitely the second time David Sobrero has had a restart. Was Marcel Cinchik in that race as well?
No, it's the first time we've seen Cinchik and Sobrero together.
Okay, so I remember Biko was in that race. Karakis was as well. So both Karakis and Sobrero, poor guys, out of the 7 races, they've had the misfortune of being in both of the restarts we've had.
That maybe they're the cause of the problems. Obviously that's just one of those things that happens. This was expected that we were going to have a few technical issues and delays like this over the event. That's just how it goes. It's always the case when using newer platforms in the world of sim racing, maybe slightly out of where their comfort zone has been over the last year or so, where it's been more at land, where there's a little bit more control over it. This was expected. It's fine. It's one of those things, and just a part of this event. It is what it is. You got to get used to it.
We're still under about 2 hours though, so I'm not complaining by any means. It's been a pretty quick night, all things considered, in the world of the Esports Racing League. Just waiting for the words from race control that all drivers back in the session, and we'll get going for what we think is likely to be I'll say it, I don't know if Lewis will agree with me, likely to be the final time tonight. David Sobrero, 1 win, and the championship belts are going home.
Look, I would say this race is 50-50. I would say that the next race it's either this race or the next race is going to be the last race, right? This one's 50-50. It could very much be the final race here of the VCO Esports Racing League Final 4 as they get themselves ready once again here. We'll see who's going to come out on top. I mean, it's been a brilliant performance from Sobrero, from Cinchik throughout the day, and it's good to see them go toe to toe.
And you were singing the praises of the rise of TC Esports. I still remember talking with former team member, manager, whatever his technical title was, Javi Guerrero, when the project was beginning, and he said, we got big plans, we got big ideas, and just wait, just give us a couple of years, and time has come, and they've continued to spread their wings. And could this just be another of the heights that they continue to reach? Christie's looking quite relaxed in the bottom left right now. Noah Lanuza looks like he's ready to go to sleep in the sim rig.
Indeed, he's got wheels on the wall. He looks pretty relaxed. I'm not sure. I always say this with RGB lighting. I think I'm one of very few people in gaming who doesn't like RGB lighting that much. I think it has its place when it's constantly changing. Goodness me, no. It's distracting, isn't it?
He's not a fan of the rainbow puke as Lewis McLeod. Off and away we go for the 7th race in the ERL final. Not a great start for Noah Lanuza as he struggles to put the power down. Remember, David Sobrero in lane 4, so he's on the very outside as we pitch the car into the left-hander. Caracas with lots of confidence in lane 2, though. Made up a lot of time through the first corner, but Chinchik noses in front as we continue to work on the first half of this lap. Oh, squirrely, just hangs on.
Wow, fully committed here from Caracas. On the inside, they're all remaining extremely close here as we'll climb up the hill. Just 5 or 6 tenths between them. Top of the hill they go. Lanús is the one dropping off a touch. The top 3 there on the right-hand side of your screen remain pretty close, and a clear picture is yet to form as to how this race is going to unfold. And they're all still in it. We've had a few, a little, throughout this event where it's looked like it's going one way, and then suddenly they go into the final bit and you think, oh, that cut through, it does struggle a little bit, and then suddenly things are thrown up in the air.
Here comes the cut underneath for Sobrero, back into lane 1, and wait for the timing to update once they all break the beam, and then we'll know the pain of lap 1 and the work that Sobrero now has to do. It is Chinchik just a nose in front of Caracas. Lanús are not that far behind given the struggles off the line, but within about 7 tenths of Sobrero. Done an excellent job on lap number 1 as Caracas once more seems very confident in the first part of the lap as he sends it now in the 3rd lane.
Indeed, Sobrero on the tightest line though. What's his run around this circuit going to be like? You can see he's already taking over 3rd position off of Noah Lanuza for the Williams F1 Team Gaming Cup. Marcel Chinchik the furthest outside. He'll scoop under the circuit, throw his way back to the inside. This is going to be fascinating. Oh, TC Esports out wide. Sobrero's committed too much. He's gone out wide at the top of the hill. And Arjuna, I think we're going to need a race 8 here.
And is it going to be with 3 in contention? It is going to need a win for Christoph Caracas here, but don't count him out just yet. Sobrero, he's going to push like a bat out of hell, but 2 laps left to go. It's a bit too much time left to fight back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Sobrero's got the pace ability to get himself ahead of Lanuza. Yes, he's ahead of Marcel Chinchik at the moment, which could well be important, but he's got to get ahead of Lanuza and Caracas. Maybe he's not fully out of this yet, but then obviously the inside line for Marcel Chinchik for the next 2 consecutive rotations of the circuit will lean its way towards the Vitality man. You'd have to wait and see. For Caracas, it could well be an important victory to throw themselves into contention for the victory here this afternoon. We heard from Samijo Abinako about, the team its motto is never give up, and well, they're not that far away from it really at the top, are they?
So the next race now is going to take increased precedence if things play as they are. Oh, Christoph Caracas drops it, mistake as well, and that means Visceral won't be into finalist mode going into the 8th race of the night. It will be all down to Yuri Toman and to Koke Lopez to see if they can settle it.
Can they settle it? Can David Sobrero be able to beat off the charge of Vitality? Can he keep them at bay? Can he get a victory here? It is not over yet in this competition, but it could be in 4.3 kilometers time. Noah Lanuza is our race leader for Williams F1 Team Gaming. We'll have to take the shortcut and go up and underneath. Maybe this will be a win for Williams. Who knows?
Remarkable. We thought it was going to be done, and then the racing lords remind us that the script is never as simple as one thought. On board with Lanuza, as you see, the chasing Sobrero. Could there still be a win for David Sobrero?
I mean, it could be. He's definitely keeping close. I think he's done an excellent job in this lap because he's pulled out quite a margin on Marcel Chinchik, so it could be over here. Remember,
Lanuza's got to cut back underneath it. As much as it's a shorter distance to the line, there's a bit less speed. What a topsy-turvy race 7. At one point we thought it was going one way, then another, and then back around to its original direction. David Sobrero Could it be a third win on the night, and could it be the championship belts going the way of TC Esports? One final blast of the line potentially here on the last garage. The ERL Final 4 goes the way of TC Esports. David Sobrero gets the job done, and the championship belts are officially headed to their new home.
Well deserved for TC Esports. Congratulations to them, the VCO Esports Racing League champions here in the Final 4. Sobrero really pulled that team, dragging, kicking and screaming across the line. And a very well-deserved victory for TC. I mean, he overcommitted into one of the corners there, Arjuna, and still managed to come out on top.
I'm still a little bit in shock, but nonetheless, even with the 4 drivers, remember they mixed it up a little bit more. Those championship belts have got some new homes. And great to see that after the EMM Esports crew won our 2026 spring edition of the finals, if you will, in person at Maastricht, the new masters of the Visceral Esports and the last garage, Thibaut Courtois Esports, get things done. And looking forward to chatting with them in just a couple of moments' time.
It has been a brilliant performance from them, hasn't it? You know, they've really pieced themselves together so well, and Sobrero has been the star of the show for the squad and has been absolutely fantastic, Arjuna, and a well-deserved winner and well-deserved champions.
David Sobrero, it was 3 wins tonight. The last one got things done, but you made one small mistake. Did you think the checkered flag was still going to go the way it was you thought it would come the end of that race?
I mean, at the beginning of the race was super smooth, and I thought I was in the perfect way to go for the win. Then I did a little mistake because, you know, I always like to go for a little more and abuse a little bit. At that point, I thought it was over, but I was still not too worried because we still had the extra race, even if we didn't win this one. But then when I started seeing that I was actually not too far from them, I just focused so much, and I did a amazing middle sector in one of the lanes, and that got me so much confidence. And I just kept going, and I was actually catching them, even though it would be really difficult because I did a mistake on the first lane, which is the best one, so I was already on the setback for the next ones. But yeah, I just stayed calm and collect, and yeah, brought to the win. So yeah.
Lewis and myself were talking about the team, how TC Esports has seemingly just continued to go from strength to strength. Talk to us a bit about the atmosphere behind the scenes and what makes TC such a fun place for you and the guys to be.
Oh, I'm loving everything. It's almost a year since I joined them, a bit far, but still. And I can see the progress and evolution throughout the months. And I can see how much effort everyone in the team is pushing individually, not just everyone in the team. And every time we have problems and things are not working, we catch up together and we fix it. And and essentially that's what we did for this last round, which is the one that counts. So we just made everything together, and the preparation and all the work in the backstage was really good. And I appreciate and thank to everyone from the team that makes this possible. So yeah.
I'm going to ask you now, as a champion of the ERL, if we're going to add one title, one sim racing platform to next season's championship, what are you adding? Come on.
Automobilistic 2 for my friend Jack Kifley. So yeah, I think it's such an underrated simulator with a million possible combinations, and yeah, I just think it's the sim that's missing on sim racing on esports. So yeah, I just dropped that.
Congratulations, David. Maybe driver of the day here in the ERL Final 4. And speaking of Jack Keithley, he's standing by with Lewis McLeod.
I actually totally agree with him. AMS2 would be a fantastic addition, and I'm sure Jack Keithley, David said he would have it for you, because I'm sure you're quite well versed with AMS2 as you are with a whole lot of sim racing, including here this evening. Superb performance from you, obviously only for one race or so, but still a great drive for the team. You must be so proud to be a part of TC Esports.
Just been absolutely mega. I'm so happy the guys. I wish I felt a bit more comfortable to do more races, but I was more than happy for the guys who felt better just to race. And I say in my Instagram story, today is the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Nah, but seriously, the guys were absolutely astounding today, absolutely brilliant, all of them. And just what a day! I'm just so happy. We did it, Mum. We did it. We nearly swore there.
I'd almost let you brush over it if you did. Obviously, it's been an excellent season for you as a team to come into this. 16 teams were a part of this journey right at the start of the season, and even from the off on LFS and obviously Gran Turismo, you kind of were all up there, and then on iRacing and racing enough to get into that top 4 and be a part of this event today. It is quite a journey these seasons here in the VCO Esports Racing League.
Absolutely, and for such a short season, we've had quite a roller coaster, because after the first round on LFS, I did not know if we would have got here, because I knew we were strong on the 3 platforms after, but LFS, we did not get off to a good start at all. Got some penalties, so it was rough, but you know, we persevered, we climbed through the order through each race, got results, got a lot of points, and here we are. And when I said before that this team is a family, that race personifies it, because we worked extremely hard and extremely well together. For everyone, from behind the scenes, media, up to us drivers, we all worked our butts off. So to get to this point is something special.
You're all one big team from front to back. Jack, thank you so much. Enjoy the championship belts. No, they'll work well for you, obviously, being a wrestling fan.
I'm right. Yes, come on.
Cheers, Jack.
Thank you.
Catch up with Koke Lopez, who was on deck for the next race. Fortunately not needed. Koke, when you saw David slip off the track, were you getting mentally prepared for that next race and knowing that competition? What was the mindset like at that time?
I was actually driving to try to get ready, but at one moment where they were saying, we are a bit ahead, first lap was good, I looked at the Zoom and I saw just David clipping the wall. But I saw he could come out of the wall quickly, and I said, okay, David won by 3.6 seconds the previous race he did, or 2 races ago, I don't remember. So if he still goes on, and maybe the other drivers also have some little mistakes here and there, we can still win it. And he won it. It was difficult until the end because we were behind Williams, but they had the 4th lane, so we knew they would lose a bit in the end. And so happy to win this.
You know, it's been an interesting season. We didn't see the team win on any one platform, but instead during the regular season we saw consistency. You're someone that helps out a lot behind the scenes. Jack Keithley's talked about this like a family. What makes this team so strong?
Well, as Jack said, this is a family. We train all together. Even for the first round, Live for Speed, only 3 of us could race. We decided to go the 5 of us full push. We couldn't maximize there because of some issues here and there, and also one big crash where both Jack and me were involved. So unfortunately, even if we maximized in the other rounds, the first one wasn't so good. Then in GT, that was my strength. Actually, we were not so fast, but we were able to get the maximum of what we could get. And we knew the final would be something different because it's about adaptation. I'm usually very critical on many things and analytical, and I think working all together with the guys, we could actually find a good way to drive this car. We were not so happy, of course, that it wasn't live because it would have been a great opportunity to meet everybody and try to win there. But of course, we knew that we still had a chance in a new scene for everyone. And yeah, we are extremely happy. We work together very well, and I think that probably made the difference.
Congratulations. Enjoy this one, Koke. Can't wait to see the title defense start in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, thankfully it will be a stressful one, I think, but we will go for it.
Cheers to Koke Lopez. Next one to join. We saw racing a little bit earlier on this evening, Nico Arriagada. I mean, what do you make of this event? This series has worked out so well for TC Esports, and you've come along as a team and been victorious. You must be so happy.
Yeah, it's a really great experience. It has been quite a good first 3 months on the team. Amazing teammates, team managers, the environment is just amazing. So I feel like at home, and bringing a championship like this to the team, even though it didn't do that well today, it's an amazing experience. So yeah, really happy, amazingly happy.
Obviously some massive names in sim racing that are a part of the TC Esports stable. I mean, what have you been learning from them, especially in such a unique format where it is about extracting the most from a car track combo in a short amount of time? How much have you been able to learn from them in the practice and preparation coming into this?
I mean, I'm learning till the moment still. From each time that we get into a voice chat to practice something, and yeah, to just train, I learn every time, every minute, every second, and these guys are incredibly fast, and I want to keep learning from them. So yeah, I'm just incredibly glad to be on a team like this, and on an environment such as close as a family as TC Esports is.
Nico, thank you so much. Big congratulations to you and TC Esports. Superb performance. And you'll be our VCO Esports Racing League champions.
Thank you.
Wow.
And
I mean, what a performance.
I've got to say, Lewis, when we talk to all of them, the one thing I take from that is it really is a team I got to assume that they enjoy being around. The fact that all 5 of them practice for Live for Speed says a lot.
Well, I mean, look, the more numbers that you have in practice, even if there is only 3 people driving in the race, you know, to the more eyes you have on it, the more work that you're putting in, it shows that big team effort. Great to hear, you know, Jack shouting out the team as a whole. And that's the important thing. We do forget about that sometimes in sim racing, that it's not just the drivers, it is a team. It's the social media, it's the team manager, it's the race engineers, it's just people that are a part of the team, honestly, for the most part, for the bands. That was basically my role.
I was going to say most important maybe are the comment. Now, definitely not the most important. It's been a great season though, Lewis. You know, I love the addition of Live for Speed. I'm not a stranger to Race Room by any means, but that was a fun twist with the classic cars and the classic Hockenheim ring as well. But now a bit of a break for us behind the scenes at VCO, and we're already starting to look forward to the next season when TC Esports will defend their championship belts, and hopefully building up to the next final at Sim Formula Europe in 2027.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously a long way away, that one still, but obviously the preparations will already begin for the next season, the build up to that. It was one of the most enjoyable events I've been a part of. Like I've said before, Andy Mason I've been speaking to for years to try and get to Sim Formula Europe, and obviously it always clashed with something. So to finally get there, to get there with Florian, to get there with yourself, whatever. Yeah, I really enjoyed being there with you and O'Leary. But obviously the environment was so nice. So looking forward to it again. Wonder what platforms we'll see. Loved Sobrero's suggestion of AMS2. Get that one. Get AMS1 involved. Why not? Cracking platform.
Got lots of options, that is for sure, and I'm already looking forward to it because I know that I can come to Maastricht and then straight over to Daytona. So my January schedule is already locked in. Gotta say though, Lewis and I have the easy job when we're not here. You and O'Leary jumps in pretty capably as well, but great team behind the scenes at VCO and RaceBot TV that help to bring all of the action to you. So big shout out to everybody as we close out yet another successful ERL season. But for now, let's close the chapter and let's look forward to a World Cup final. Will it be Spain? No? Argentina? Maybe? We'll find out. Join us later this year for the next chapter in the Esports Racing League. For Lewis and myself, Arjuna. See you then.